Hello, everybody. Sorry for the late start. I was just getting off another space, which I see some of you have just come from. So that excites me. And I see some other guys who were on the earlier space today. What's up? What's up? I'm filling in today for Madman Dr. Phil. He's on vacation. And yeah, he asked me to do this, and I'm having a great time. I'm loving it. Hope everyone's having a great 4th of July if you're in the US. If you're not, then just vicariously. Sound effects. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. My name is Micah, and I've been in the Web3 space for about 4 years. Was head of partnerships at Fio Protocol. I'm an advisor to MetaKeep. And I'm here to help bring decentralization to the world one space at a time, at least today. That's what I'm doing. Fighting for my, as my country fought for its independence, so am I, but in this Web3 version, in the digital realm. So let's go. Start off with some introductions. Noodle.
Hey, thank you, Mika. Super happy to be here. I mean, this space every week is getting, I would say, more and more interesting. Great people, great to see. I mean, all the usual suspects who are animating this space. Just summary about Nodle. So we are basically the first DePIN that got launched, and we harvest the power of smartphones. The main application on the network is a wireless and location based application where we offer large companies the possibility to locate and authenticate physical assets like cars or motorcycles. Our largest customer is an insurance company in Europe, and they use the crowd of smartphones with the Nodle Cash app to actually locate and authenticate vehicles like cars, and help also people very often actually recover vehicles after they have been stolen. And we also have started tests with AI agents to route traffic from AI agents through the people's smartphones. So basically, yeah, it's really a decentralized physical infrastructure of smartphones. I like to call it a smartphone infrastructure. More than 1.3 million people installed the app. And we also launched another app, which is pretty fascinating and becoming more and more important. I just saw this morning actually that during the Andreessen Horowitz conference, Mark Andreessen really explained how it was going to be impossible to detect fake news or to detect fake content. So we launched an app which is called the Click app. It's completely free to use. It's available on iOS and on Android, as well as the Nodal Cash app. And you can download the Click app and authenticate your photos and the videos you take with the Nodal app, with the Click app. You can also do it if you connect to the web interface, authenticate photos you have taken without basically the Click app. In that case, you only get a proof of provenance and not a proof of origin. So I invite you to test it. It's super easy to use. It's just one click, you swipe to authenticate, and then you can share it on any social. It creates automatically a preview. And super excited again to be here today with you all. I would love to have and see more people also, if you are on iOS, start to use the decentralized messaging within the Nodal Cash app, where you can now chat completely privately. It's a pretty strong encryption on XMTP. It's supposed to be quantum resistant. And you can also exchange payments. So you can pay, chat, and earn on the Nodal Cash app today. Thank you, Mika.
Yeah, man, that's something that you guys are building there. That's pretty cool. My end of the world kind of head starts to spin when I think like, okay, how can this be used if they try to shut us down? So I think this is cool. I think you guys are doing something pretty awesome, and yeah, I just sent you a follow. Um, this is cool, man. I like it.
Thank you. Excited to be here and to participate today.
Yeah, and I like it that your name is spelled just like mine, but different. You know,
Yeah, I
that's
like it
really
too.
cool too. uh, let's see. Should we just do some quick introductions here? Looks like we have a lot of people talking today, so let's try to like make it 30 seconds to a minute. We'll go from from Soulbound on. Go ahead.
Let's go. Super happy to be here, guys. My name is Marcello, head of spaces here at Soulbound. We are a Web3 streaming platform. We're doing things very different compared to the traditional models. We're also bringing you guys Gamblefy, so we got some prediction markets. We're bringing in some AI agents, and we've got a lot of cool stuff coming as well as our TGE. But I'll end it at that. Thank you so much for having us, and yeah, awesome to have you here, Micah. Is it Mika or Micah? Am I pronouncing it correctly?
It depends which Mika you speak to. Mine is Misha, and
Yeah, mine's
Well, the
Micah.
host, the host.
Yeah,
Awesome, bro.
I appreciate that because I actually I moved to Puerto Rico and the Latin version is Mika, which I just hate the sound of that. So I'm happy that you asked because Micah is the correct pronunciation. Thank you, sir. My man Pradeep, the star of previous pod or previous space. What's up, my man? You want to give a quick intro?
GM, thank you for having me here. And my name is Pradeep. I'm the CEO at Pai3 Network. We are a decentralized container technology for running purpose-built agents in a business environment. We are focused on serving millions of professionals like medical, legal, healthcare, insurance to be able to run purpose-built agents in their environment in a privacy-preserving manner that they can actually use in their business context. Our vision is very simple: to be an alternative to SaaS-based AI systems and have a community-owned infrastructure for models, agents that are independently verified, have transparent in their execution, and that business can use without violating ethical or professional or legal boundaries. And in doing so, get through them to the billions of consumers they actually serve, with whom they actually have relationship with. So if you're a doctor, you might have 10,000 patient portfolio. If you're a dentist, you might have 4,000 dental patients. If you're a hospital, you'll have 2 million patients in your active ecosystem. So the goal is to enable AI to run in the context of that business, learn how that business runs, run against the patient or client or consumer data in a privacy preserving way, and then for that agent to serve that consumer in a very personalized manner. None of that you can do today with OpenAI or XAI, or even if you can, you shouldn't, because you shouldn't be uploading case information or patient information or financial records of a client into OpenAI. That's both illegal and inappropriate. So with Pi3, you would be able to store the data in the Pi3 container, run agents against that container, and get very client-specific insights for yourself and the client. And you can automate and improve your business and grow revenue. We are excited to be here because our view is, if you look at this construct of community-run networks, community-governed networks, we believe that any kind of a AI system of the future cannot be governed by a central authority. Anytime you have to hear a CEO like me say, "Trust me," you shouldn't, because that CEO can be replaced, that CEO can be corrupted. The pressure to generate revenue, to generate EBITDA, is all going to impact your decisions, and that's never the right thing for the community. So community-run networks is the answer to actual adoption of AI by business. So we believe without that, businesses are at peril of being replaced or shut down. So from that perspective, Network-as-a-DAO is a really important topic. Thank you for having us here today. Very excited to be here, and some great people that I've talked to in the past. Mia is here, Treble's here. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts as always and contributing as I can. Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here, Pradeep. Appreciate it, man. Love your comments as always. Verse, you're up, bud. And one verse. Say hello, please. All right. How about we move on over to layer one?
Hey, good morning. This is Cody behind the handle. I am the Chief Engagement Officer here at Layer 1X. Layer 1X is a fully decentralized Layer 1 blockchain that focuses on true native bridgeless interoperability. We use it through our proprietary technology called XTalk that we've built from the ground up. We've built our own VM and consensus models. We run a dual model system that allows us to connect to both EVM as well as non-EVM compatible chains. So, yeah, happy to be here. Excited. Definitely, definitely interested in this topic. That's for sure. Thanks for having us.
For sure, man. Yeah, as we know, bridges are where all the money is stolen. So I'm happy you guys are working on something that you know, doesn't require that. So definitely want to ask you some more questions about that. The tech seems pretty cool. Uh, so yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later. Thank you for being here, sir. Treble, what's up, man?
Hey, this morning, everyone here. Rob here, one of the co-founders of Treble. Yeah, thanks for having us back on here. We got, we're the first V4 Dex on base. We got a full-scale aggregation, and of course, our goal is to eventually turn our token holders into a fully pledged DAO. So, we do have our Xtrabs token. We have our staking mechanics that have various benefits associated with referral links, kickbacks, swap kickbacks that are coming up, as well as yield boosts for our Nitro Strategies farms and staking itself. So the more you stake, the more you earn, basically. So I think it's very important to have a mechanic built into where you can pass over the overall governance to your community, because that's in the end the goal of DeFi as a whole. It doesn't matter who the founders are. The idea is to create a fully functioning protocol that you can then leave alone to run itself. And that's ultimately the goal of Treble, is to have the all-inclusive DeFi hub on base with cross-chain swaps, with a cross-chain launchpad, aggregation, all sorts of features, automated AI, automated uh, strategies, as well as our agent that can help anybody out, as well as agent that will be able to plug in, and then you can basically seamlessly interact with all of our smart contracts without actually having to click any buttons, just by talking to Elvis. And once every feature that we have is in place, once everything is there the way it's supposed to be, then we want to pass on the governance to our community. So overall, that is something that we want to do, and that is something that should be important for every DeFi protocol out there.
Could not agree 100%, sir. You're building some good stuff there. Really enjoyed you on the previous space, and I can't wait to more comments that you're going to have. Last but not least, is it Miyai? How do you say it? Sorry
Yeah,
if I
no,
bastardized that.
that's actually
The,
correct. Mia, yeah, it's
okay,
in
great.
Japanese. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Hi guys. I've seen like Treble and some of you here meeting you once again. Yeah, for anyone that doesn't know us, we are a startup company based out of Prague, mainly working on the custom AI agents, mostly agentic AIs and AI agent orchestration for Web2 companies. And Mia is our first Web3 project that we are pursuing from the content creation side. And actually, we have fully finished the content creation AI agent or agentic AI smart system that doesn't require any API to connect, and it will automatically deal with your you just need to set the preset, like the goal, and then it will do whatever it takes to just achieve that goal. So that is already done, and now currently we are working on our next challenging stuff, that is a DeFi trading agent that we are planning to have as an AI agent under MiI. And the goal at the end of the Q4 is to have multiple AI agents that are controlled by MiI, functioning multiple use cases or multiple stories or multiple ideas. And actually, for anyone who wants to know, I think there is an application that's already launched this week. It's called Warm Wind, and I think they do exactly the same like us. I think I know some of the employees that work there, but their AI system actually can handle more than 1,000 AI agents at the same time. So that's a bit stronger than ours. But yeah, for anyone who's interested, have a look at them.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely am. I've been messing a lot with the any agents and running my own server, so I can run multiple agents. 1,000 agents sounds like a lot, though. Now, is that because and you're just Solana chain, right?
Yes, we are on Solana chain. But I mean, the Warm Wind one, I don't think they're even Web3 compatible. But we are
Okay.
mainly Solana. Yeah. And
Gotcha,
again,
gotcha.
the goal is DeFi, and then after DeFi, we have because we're currently working on Web2 solutions right now, maybe most likely doing HR, sales, and marketing department automation. So yeah, I mean, we're trying to optimize it and eventually move completely to Web3, and Mia will be like the mother of all AI agents that can control all of this, and we can package them as separate SaaS products and be like maybe with a $10 package per month or something like that. Yeah,
That's pretty
that's
cool.
pretty
So just so I understand your X profile correctly, so
yeah.
is this character that you have as like the
But
avatar, is that an AI?
yes, that is her. Yeah, she's an AI. Actually, we had space yesterday, an X space, and we you will hear it. I think next week. We have already dropped our second album. I mean, she like I like you can just follow us or go to our profile and listen to some of the musics, and it's all created by AI. And like we didn't do anything.
Crazy.
It's just like put a prompt and then the goal, and then she picks the different genres like rap, like different styles and everything, and then she creates all of these different styles, and they all have
Damn,
some
man.
meaning. You can listen to them. It's I mean, no swearing, but everything is like Web3 friendly, motivational speaking things.
That's so wild, man. It's so wild. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be introduced to my nephew's AI girlfriends here pretty soon. I just see it coming, you know?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
inevitable.
That is, I think, also our next year plan to move also on the gaming side and to have her as also a personal assistant, like a persona. Maybe you can wear this Google glasses or Facebook Meta glasses, and then have her present next to you and things like this. But which I think this would be much more complicated. But again, let's see what happens.
For sure, for sure. All right, well, let's get to the topic. We have a lot of speakers, so I'm just gonna kind of do it by a raise of hands. So real quick, has everyone here been in a DAO or worked with DAOs? Just show me like a quick raise, like a 100 if you have experience with DAOs. Okay, so about most of us, yeah. Yeah, I was involved in a DAO for the last 3 or 4 years, and it's interesting. Can't wait to hear your guys' takes on it. One of the first questions I have up is, what does it actually mean for a network to function as a DAO, and how does that differ from the typical token governed protocol model? Let's spend maybe like 5 to 10 minutes on this question. Um, who wants to go first? Let's go with Micha.
Yeah, I mean, we implemented a DAO with Nodle, and so the way we pass votes, usually, I mean, it's several steps. We first have a proposal going to the community that is shared, and we invite the community to comment on the proposal. And once the comments have been gathered, basically we issue a new proposal that takes into consideration the proposals from the community, and then after we ask the community to vote directly. We don't have any delegation. I mean, many DAO function with people basically giving their voting power to a few representatives. We actually, with Nodal, because we are smartphone based, and we believe in a like in basically in a fully distributed power when it comes to voting and governance. We ask every individual to vote each time, and so it's pretty and a pretty easy process. They can use their Nodal Cash app. They can connect to the voting tool on the web using the camera on their app. And then they vote directly, and once the vote is passed, basically we execute on the on the governance proposal. The latest one we did actually is just from a couple of days ago, where the community voted to lower the volume of new issuance of token that are basically minted every day and distributed to the community for performing the work of sharing access to the network, like Bluetooth and location. And Yeah, so it's done live, and pretty. I mean, it works pretty well actually for us up until now.
Very cool. Very cool. Um, Treble, I know you have a lot to say about this.
Yeah, so man, DAOs are just the next logical step of being your figure of speech, your board of directors, basically. And I lived in Las Vegas for about 9 years, and Nevada was the first state in the United States that actually gave legitimacies to DAOs from a legal standpoint, as well as gave legitimacy to smart contract agreements from a legal standpoint as well. So in Nevada specifically, DAOs and smart contracts have been legally binding for quite some time, and it's quite interesting when you start thinking of a DAO not as like, oh, we're just token holders that vote for things, but in terms of the next logical progression of being a stockholder of any stock, essentially. Because why should the board of directors, why should only the 9 people or 10 people or however many people are on the board of directors should have a say? Why can't every stockholder give their vote to whatever is going on with this company? And then when they cast that vote, their voting can be proportional to how many shares they have. I mean, this is exactly what DAOs are, and this is the next logical step to this system. So I think there's going to be some hurdles that we'll have to combat in order to get there. For example, if you're a DAO registered in now Nevada or Wyoming, for example, can you operate legally in Nebraska, for example? Can you do everything the same way as an LLC could in another state, for example, or another country? But I think that will eventually, I think that we will eventually surpass that because right now people are afraid of thinking of tokens. We're calling stock tokens as utility tokens, even though they're kind of they have certain features of voting and they don't have ownership attached to them, but they have yield capability based on protocol revenue. So there's a lot of great things, and eventually we will have to come to terms with thinking about some tokens out there as more like RWA style stocks that are on chain that give you direct voting access and direct, dividend yield potentially. And this is effectively turning all of stocks into a DAO model because that's how it should be. And right now we have the tech for it to be completely possible. So I think that all DeFi, especially DeFi protocols and on-chain protocols, should move towards the DAO model, absolutely. But I think the DAO model will start bleeding over your traditional style businesses because it makes sense. It's the most efficient. It's the most fair.
So I have a lot of comments on that, but I want to pass it off to Layer and then and then Miai first because I kind of want to get all your guys' takes before I drop mine, and then also Soul as well. So let's just go, yeah, Layer, Miai, and then Soul, and then I'll drop my take.
Yeah, great points so far. I mean, I've been in quite a few different structures of DAOs. From a project kind of governance, like you said, with the nine plus founder kind of people that are partnerships that are involved, all the way down to ones that are just kind of more like investment DAOs, right? Coming together trying to raise funds. And I think we really look at DAOs as just kind of like it was mentioned, voting and yield bearing kind of opportunities. And I think that yeah, as we start traveling around with kind of running protocols, running this and that, there are a lot of challenges around that. I think there are some really good opportunities, but I think that the DAO infrastructure and the DAO how we use DAOs need to go a little bit more in depth. For an example, I saw a DAO, or I spoke with a project a few months ago that was actually using a DAO to literally run their whole entire project from community managers to graphic designers to everything. Everything had a specific smart contract with it. Budgets were allocated and were distributed to the different positions. And the community voted on the different positions, and basically they had it where you could have a kind of like a smart NFT in your wallet, and as long as you held that, that meant you held the position. When you didn't hold the position anymore, the NFT got burnt, but that was your way of getting paid. But it was interesting because they literally used smart contracts within the DAO to basically break down roles, responsibilities, and performance. So as soon as you got your tasks done, you got paid. And so it was really interesting because then the community could see exactly down to the T where money was going within the community, which is interesting because I think once we start getting to that kind of level of complexity in DAOs, it's kind of endless. Like if we treat it more of like an HR component, we can get more into those kind of things. But also being able to have alliances as well. I've started dabbling around with a couple of DAOs that are part of bringing projects together into one specific alliance that has one vision, one focus. And yeah, it's not open to the community, but it is definitely something that comes together because then it tells who is in charge of what and what resources they need to provide, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that, yeah, we're headed in the right direction, like a speaker was saying earlier about having it finally be recognized by multiple states now in the U.S. is definitely another key because it's lending to some clarity on the infrastructure and the regulatory stuff behind it because now people can actually form and really start pushing the crypto side from the U.S.
Man, that was a great take. Super awesome. Thank you for that. I'm trying to collect everyone's takes and process it while I prepare my own because I do have a lot. I do have a lot to say about DAOs. I'm really passionate about this subject and governance in general. Uh, let's go to you real quick, and then Soulbound.
Okay, I'll try to make it fast. Yeah, so I mean, I will make my response directly related to AI because it will be more relevant. And again, I would be glad to hear your feedback as well. Like this is something that we're currently working on, and it's so like from previous experience, what I've done also to any project drops a token and then they post a proposal and they hope like wallets show up and do this like DAO voting and so on. But I'm thinking from MII side, for example, from our side, anyone also might be doing it. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to make a bit like to make a simple change to this like traditional value thing. So instead of just your typical DAO, maybe like we're trying to call it more like dynamic autonomous value system classification kind of thing. And it's not going to be just governance, but it's going to be logic that moves and that changes with the AI agents. This could apply for NFT companies, also like a project, but I don't know how it will be for, let's say, other tokens or different ideas. But if what we're trying to do in this case is, so instead of asking people to vote, on everything, then we like in this case with AI, everyone will have their own custom AI agents, right? That they're training, and they have their own characters and values, what they want to, what they want them to look like, and so on. So each one of them, we let them train their agents the way they want, define their behavior specifically, and then co-own those outcomes in that DAO portfolio. So imagine like a funds minting their own version of a MII or any AI agent, and then it will not be just art, but it will be considered by. I mean, the evaluations will be considered by its logic, how it functions, and what kind of value it actually brings to the system, to the ecosystem, or to your project. And then after all of that has been created, that those agents create value that you could actually share amongst those funds or those people. So the next layers of DAO, it will be like it will not just be the community controlled, but it will be community logic and co-creating with the project. Maybe this is something that we're working on. It's still not clear, but we just don't want to use the typical DAO style of approach. That is what we're headed. But I'm open for any feedback, or if any of these projects also have done something in this space. that is new and that is completely different. Would love to hear your opinion about this.
Thanks for that take, man. That was great. I can definitely see that we do have a lot of experience in here working with DAOs, and we're at the tip of the spear because not a lot of people can really say that. No one's really tried a different governance model. They just, participated in the governance of their country, or if they've worked at whatever company that they've been employed in, and that's what they know. And people rarely, try something new. They just kind of go with what works, and until they've tried something new, for better or for worse, they don't really know what that's going to be. So I'm happy that a lot of people here have, and that we have a good pool of collection and ideas for people to speak from. Soulbound, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, great takes overall. So I do think DAOs have have a place when it comes to governance and providing your community the ability to contribute and to provide insight and feedback that is taken seriously. I think, although right now, I think like many other things in this industry, I do think DAOs are often just a buzzword that's being thrown around as something that's hot. As from my experience, I've noticed that a lot of projects will just try to be a DAO just for the sake of being one. Many times as well, participation isn't always a thing. Also, what feedback do you want to get from the community, and how seriously do you take that? All that aside, though, I do think that the concept of a DAO is absolutely brilliant, and I think that as we move forward, the idea of governance, especially on chain, I think is extremely important. And I think there's some really incredible use cases that could be used when doing this the right way. So I'm absolutely really bullish when it comes to that, especially the whole concept of like network as a DAO. With the idea with Deepin and being able to use our phones as nodes and essentially just being able to contribute to a network or to a system with these supercomputers that we have in our pockets. It's really interesting what's possible with that, right? So I do think just the concept of a DAO, in many cases, like many other things in this industry, it has been thrown around a lot. But at the same time, I really do think there's something extremely interesting that, when done the right way and when used for the right use cases, could be absolutely revolutionary and could be done in a very interesting way. So yeah, those are some thoughts on my end when it comes to this.
Yeah, man. Thanks for that take. I feel like I kind of understand your point of view, or I would say I agree with your point of view a little bit more. So Treble's pretty bullish on DAOs. It seems. I feel like Layer has a lot of really good, significant experience, and I keep saying it wrong. Is it Mai or Miai? I forgot. Me AI, is that how we said it?
Yeah, I mean, it depends where you're from, so everyone can say that. Just read it straightforward.
Yeah, I love I love your insight on AI in Dallas, 'cause I feel like
Uh,
AI will play a beautiful role in it. So I've been in a DAO for a while, and right now, I first of all, I love transparency, and that's what I think is the best thing about DAOs. And I think the ideas of DAOs are very important. In my experience, and this is just my personal experience on this, and my personal viewpoint, I think DAOs are really hard to do when it's a group of 20 or more people. Because I think that when you have 20 or more people, and this has just been in my experience, you get so many cooks in the kitchen and so many different personalities in the mix that governance by majority vote, without a clear defined hierarchy, can be really difficult. I'm actually a huge fan upcoming of what Morpheus AI is doing. They have a thing called atomic governance. And the more I look at that, the more I'm kind of like, I actually kind of like that. You're essentially there's no team really. There's a few, top head contributors, but essentially if you want to contribute, you make a proposal and you say, hey, I want to do this work. I want to, commit to this GitHub, or I want to offer these kind of marketing services. And you present that pitch. And if people involved, see that and they like it and they're like, cool, yeah, go ahead and do this work, and then we'll pay you in Morpheus tokens, right? Or whatever company treasury that we have. But there's no necessarily anyone showing up to work every day. It's just more contributions. And I feel like when you're trying to create a competitive product in a competitive market, I don't know, man. I don't know if DAOs are the answer. Right now, I believe that I can do a better job than someone else in the DAO that I'm participating in, and we have a competing proposal. And in that competing proposal, I'm seeing that there's conflict because people are voting for themselves uh, to be in positions of power where they're receiving contributions from. And I feel like that's a huge conflict of interest. So I am spending my free time writing updates to the DAO uh, laws and regulations because I'm seeing these issues come up. And I guess it's just a part of governance, anyways, right? Like as we try things and as things fail, we have to find out new solutions, but it takes energy and it takes commitment. And sometimes at the end of the day, you know, corporations have been building successful companies for a long time. Uh, you know, especially in a competitive landscape. So, that's kind of where I've shifted a little bit my ideas. That I think that if we're trying to build competitive products, that a typical corporation or LLC might be the way. Where one person's vision can get a lot more done than you know 12 people's visions. It just kind of depends on the level of focus and the level of people. What's your guys' thoughts on that take?
Well, I think that you can look at the word the well, I guess the word the acronym DAO the same as you look at the word government. It can either be a direct democracy, it can be a representative democracy, it can even be a tribunal government. It can be a one-party state for all it matters. You know what I mean? But in the end, like you do have that board of directors concept potentially where the community can cast a vote, a majority vote, and elect their representatives to run the board of directors. And of course they could be educated on why they should vote for them, but essentially have a representative style democracy within your DAO. But it's we don't I don't think of DAOs in a way in a way that's just everybody gets to vote, everybody has a say on every single thing always. No, it's just a format of governance now. And it can be a board of directors corporation, board of directors ran corporation that's a DAO effectively. And stockholders a lot of times do have a way to vote on those board of directors members, on CEOs, on various executive team members. So it's all a matter of how you really think of that, because in the end, if you do have a DAO formation, then everything is transparent. You do know how and who is voting for, who is voting for. There is no ballot stuffing measures per se, and it's not, and I do feel like it would encourage people to participate more than those people that are holding stocks on Robinhood, and they're not even aware that they could even interact with those stocks in such a way, to be able to vote on any kind of things. But when I had a Robinhood account, I used to receive, and when I used to use my Robinhood account, and I had various stocks in my portfolio, I would receive letters from the companies I was invested into, and I would receive packages, about what's coming up for the year for ExxonMobil, for example, and doing all the things telling me all the things that they're up to, all the decisions their board of directors have made, and showing all the dates of, hey, if you want to vote, you can actually participate in this type of thing. So I think that is a lot more possible and practical to do on chain, and a DAO doesn't have to be limited in any ways.
Very true, very true. I guess it all kind of counts and matters with the bylaws and how that's governed, right? Do you have a board of directors? Do you have then more of an active uh, governing body under that board of directors if they're just trying to give insight, but more kind of like managers essentially. Yeah, there's a ton of different ways to do DAOs and to govern. I'd like to know more. Who wants to talk about it next? Micha.
No, I just want to add that I feel that very often, actually, I mean, we make things very complicated with DAO, and we make the voting process like really cumbersome. what we tried with Nodle and the Nodle DAO more specifically is actually make sure that information is flowing. So it's a bit easier in our case because we have a direct presence on people's smartphone with the app and the wallet. So we do push information on the governance proposal. We do ask the people to come and comment. So I feel it's really, up until now, it has been a very participative process, and we also made it super easy. Like, even if you don't know anything about Web3, and you have the Nodal Cash app wallet, and you can vote very easily. I mean, you just need to go to a specific URL on your computer. It's using Wallet Connect, so you scan a QR code, you log in, you can review the whole governance proposal, and you just can vote yes or no, or abstain. So we made it really like completely a seamless experience for individuals. And I think often in many I mean DAO that I participated to, I feel in the process, if you are not really like very well informed or trained or really fluent with these Web3 tools, I mean, it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to vote. So I think it's very important to keep in mind to make this process as simple as possible.
Right, right. Yeah. That is something that we've definitely run into, will my vote count, right? And if I'm not technologically proficient enough, should that limit my vote counting? And, you know, just because I don't know about it, does that mean that my vote counts less? So I think, yeah, making that really easy for people is definitely essential in all areas of governance. Um,
Can I jump in
yeah,
there?
of course.
Yeah, it's interesting because, as humans, we're all inherently social creatures, right? And we all evolve from, living, working in groups to, our basic level of survival, right? Our family units. And it's interesting because if we take a step back and we look at the psychological or the cognitive behavior, a lot of our biases that influence um, our preferences on who leads and the governance structures that we're all around, right? We all look for some sort of authority figure because it was mentioned, if you had too many cooks in the kitchen, nothing gets done because nobody wants to step on each other's toes. A good example of this kind of infrastructure of just nobody leading, it's just um, just an evolution or a movement type of thing, is looking at the different types and standards of computing languages that have been coding languages that have been built over the years. I mean, there's uh, back in the day it was Cobalt. Now you got Golang, you got React, you got all these different ones, and as long as they are serving a purpose and they are getting the job done and people can get behind it, yeah, there's some passion. You're going to get people committing. You're going to get people that are engaged enough to basically help with the evolution of it. But once it stops or the community dies down, so does the project. And sometimes these projects become dead languages, right? And so, I get that we all want the fairness aspect of it. It's all like wired into our brain that we want a value of fairness. We want to basically be able to know that our vote is being heard, all this kind of stuff. But a lot of, if you even just peel back that layer of the voting rights that you get with the normal stocks, you did this and that. I mean, in reality, I- it, working in those kind of infrastructures anyways, a lot of times those are just used for a way for leadership to validate the direction and what they're doing within among the stakeholders, with among the shareholders. So it's almost like a focused feedback group in a sense, right? And so it's a way for the community to be heard, because guess what? When you're heard, you feel more inclined to be like, oh, my vote counts. I'm heard. I'm more engaged into the infrastructure. I'm more engaged into the project as a result of that. So there's some unique elements there as well. So I think you look at meme coins, you look at NFTs, you look at some of these kind of things. There is a whole bunch of DAOs going on in a sense. They just don't have the DAO label put on it. But in theory, a DAO isn't really anything new except for the decentralization portion of it, right? More involvement, which in my opinion is an evolution of what we've experienced in Web 2 by owning just a basic share stock. Like now you can get more involved into the projects that you're investing in. But I think it is interesting enough that we need to look at why we come together as groups and why there are almost like natural leaders that take lead as a result of that, because we are looking for those type of people. There are leaders, there are followers. That's just the human evolution. That's just the way it is. And then you got people that are kind of in between. And that's how DAOs need to kind of adjust, because I am of a fan of the ones that come in with projects that have vision, have purpose, and as long as they can stay on that North Star, no one person has to be behind it. But in reality, there does have to be somebody that's kind of championing that voice constantly to make sure that they're on it.
I agree with that 100%. And I think when it comes down to when you're talking about that champion or that driving force, I think that it's always can be explained as, well, centralized versus decentralized, right? If I'm that person that has a lot of energy and I'm kind of taking the reins, that's essentially a centralized approach towards me putting that energy versus other people doing it collectively. And that's kind of what I've experienced when, you know, in companies and DAOs and anything, is that you have, I think, 80% of the work being done by 20% of the people. Uh, and those 20% get burnt out. And we see, 80% of the payment, going out to these people, or I'm sorry, we see an incorrect or unfair amount of payments going towards people who aren't putting the same level of energy in, and that causes us to be salty. But rather than just going up to a division head and saying, or that division head being able to see or have the power to do something about it, they don't, because the governance at that point is too decentralized, and then the bad actors just getting paid and getting tokens now with not doing much. So I think that there's always a give and take of centralization over decentralization, and like, how do you effectively manage that? Because at the end of the day, yeah, essentially we're just managing our emotions and our time, and that's really what we're trying to govern. We're governing those resources, and how do we manage that effectively? Which I guess leads me to my next question, was how can a DAO, a network as a DAO, truly remain decentralized at scale, right? Or just infrastructure-based systems just centralize over time, because to get shit done you have to. Who wants to answer that question first? With the last 8 minutes that we have. Go ahead, Pretty.
So I want to roll back a little bit. I think, and I will come to your question, one of the things that I see DAOs doing is to sponsor new business models, new economic systems that don't exist today. And I'll give a concrete example. I come from healthcare, and many times in the past, we have tried to build initiatives that engage, let's say, a bunch of pediatricians to come up with a better child care model for our country, or we've tried to build better palliative care for people who are dying. And the problem we run into always is that it's, even though people are willing to engage from a expertise perspective, it's not hard to get pediatricians to agree to come to meetings and discuss childcare model. The problem becomes, how do you implement such a model where these guys can keep an eye on it and can endorse it? So what I'm saying is that in a DAO system, you can actually create new economic models where people, and especially when you think about AI, I see a pathway where we can have professionals contribute to training a specialized language model, let's say for cancer treatment, where you can engage a lot of oncologists around the world to participate, to contribute their data. But they want to know that the end product that's being there, whatever that protocol is doing, is consistent and that it's transparent. So it's in that model, if they can inspect and verify the behavior of a community built system, whatever it is, protocol, smart contract, app, we are much more likely to get really highly reputable professionals to participate, especially if then they can get paid for their contribution in a transparent way. So we think of DAO more in the construct of governance, right? That's how we have always thought of them in the Web3 world, that this is how you govern a protocol, a community, or whatever. But if you start thinking of DAOs as new economic arrangement where participants of the DAO, who are contributors, who are verifiers, who are reviewers, and so on, and they all have transparency in how this governance is working, then even if they're not actively engaged in voting every single day, just because they are being able to verify the behavior of the DAO from a distance, you will get very interesting opportunities to create collaborative economies that don't exist today. They're very hard to do in the Web2 space because the moment you give control over the database or the protocol to a company, they'll start exploiting it, and the professionals will disengage, saying, I don't want to let IBM control my intellectual property. So in that sense, I think that DAOs are very important to look beyond governance. I think they are more of a collaborative environment construct that can lead to better drug discovery, better care models, better insurance models where risk is managed better. So I see that. Now, coming to how much the DAO should be, Treble made a really good point. You can have very different models of governance. You can have a committee model which are appointed or elected. You can have expert model where people with certain expertise get a better voice, or you can have a token model where more tokens you have, the more power you have. All those governance models are going to vary based on what the purpose of your DAO is. But what's really important, regardless of that, is that as long as this governance is on chain and transparent, as long as the community has visibility into what decision was made, how it was made, who made it, what the implications are, and they have some recourse if they don't like that decision, then I think DAOs become very powerful as a fundamental collaborative tool. Because I may not be active every day voting, but as long as I can go back and verify everything that happened, who did what, and everything is transparent and on chain, then again, as a professional, as a lawyer, I might be willing to contribute case law or my client cases to a language model which is very focused on maybe Roman law in the UK. That kind of a collaboration is, I think, when you intersect DAOs with agents and models and AI in general, it's a better bet than letting some corporation in Silicon Valley build us a language model that we have to blindly trust, not knowing how much bias or how much data theft they have baked into that model. That's where so summarizing, I think DAOs can go easily beyond governance to collaborative community economic models where professionals and experts can contribute and then monitor the behavior of their protocol. And I think we'll see some very interesting use cases, including some of the ones that we are working on.
Yeah, that was that was a really good take to that question. I do think it can go beyond governance. Um, I just I want to pose the question. I'm not trying to shit on DAOs because again, I spent the last 4 years of my life in one, and I'm still putting proposals through to them right now. But other than Pizza DAO, like what DAOs do you know of that are super successful? That you can just name off the head, off the top of your head. Yeah, I don't know a ton of them. So, just throwing that out there. But hey, Rome
Well,
wasn't
I
built in a
want to say
day.
so far I feel the DAO with the Nodle community has been very participative and kind of very unanimous in the votes, given the fact that we asked the community to participate and share their point of view and make suggestions. So I would say so far, I mean, we've done a couple of votes now, and I feel it's been pretty successful with the community. I mean, I haven't really got any or seen every big complaint so far.
Okay, good. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm happy to hear that, man. And I want to hear more successful stories. And again, I'm not trying to poo-poo on DAOs too much. I've gotten a lot of opportunity that I wouldn't have been able to achieve in a DAO, because if I was in a traditional, business, I wouldn't have had the capability to bring forth ideas. I would have had to go through a bunch of upper middle management who probably would have shat on them. But I was able to actually like put my ideas forth to a committee that they voted to fund and approve, and I got to build some cool stuff. So, want to give credit where that is due as well. And this is just my personal experience. I'm not speaking for anybody. Um, uh, May I saw your hand up, and then we'll close it out with some happy Fourth of July's.
Yeah, I'll make it quick also. Yeah. I mean, listening to all of you guys' point, like amazing points actually. Like I'm even now thinking, not everyone should vote. Like this is how I'm starting to see it now, like at this point. So like I think voting should be more or less earned by anyone that will be participating in that space. And in this case, so like it will not be like again, of course you can control it, no whales dominating it, you can focus on those things to avoid any kind of fraud. You can, guys, you guys mentioned also keep it like all the rules on chain and anyone can build on it. And also exit options should be, let's say, anyone can fork or leave if it breaks. So if these are transparent, for example, for all the users, and they know what they're doing, then it could be a bit safer. But at the same time, I think we're thinking of like tiered access. So the more you contribute, in this case, the more you contribute to that project, like it could be from content, from agents, or from any kind of like your agenda, your goal. The more you the more you wait in and you get involved in that project, then you get to vote. So it will be more like real engagement equals or gives you real voting power. So the less you participate in the project, then you start losing the voting power. Maybe if we do that, and instead of like by the amount of money that you have or this thing, maybe the voting could be fair, a bit fair, and people who truly care about the project, not the ones that are coming just to make money, will stay and will have trust in the project, and maybe they will contribute, and they might be even your partners in growing you and giving you real feedback on your for example, for us, especially in AI agent, we need to drop softwares, and then we need to onboard whitelist, like people give access, and then we need to get their feedback mostly. So this would be I think helpful in this case. But yeah, thank you for having me. And yeah, soon we'll see a lot. We have a lot of things coming. I don't want to take the time from the other speakers. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I think what it always comes down to incentive. Do I have incentive monetarily? Do I have incentive for my ideas to be heard? Do I have incentive for just to be listened to half the time? Or is I know, right? But we all just want to be loved. Any other closing remarks from anyone else?
Thank you for the great space. Thank you very much. We enjoyed it.
Yep. Great space. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
great
go enjoy
conversation.
some.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.
For sure,
I'm gonna.
for sure. Oh, you
Thank
guys,
you,
my
Mika.
mom's here. Everyone say what's up to Karen. She joined my space. How supportive is that? Can I ask you guys a favor? So I was always doing spaces under field protocol. So I need to build my X following. Can you guys shoot me a follow? I only have like 250 followers, and it's kind of sad.
Just did.
Awesome. Thanks, man. And yeah, I'm gonna be filling in for Growthy on the 8th as well for 3 spaces. So hopefully some of you guys will be on there. Misha, do you want to say something real quick?
Oh, just want to thank all the participants and speakers. I mean, for joining today. I think DAO is a very important component of the Web3 infrastructure, and a great way to actually get more participation when people, I think, feel their vote count, and when they feel that basically projects are taking their wish into consideration. I think it's good for everyone. We all want to be living in a free world where democracy prevails, and feel that we have basically a say in what's happening. And I think in the ethos of Web3, it is it's a very important component. I mean, in the end, why we are building Web3 is because we want users to benefit basically from the protocol and the service it provides. And so I think it's a super important element. And even if it still probably needs infancy, and I think it's mainly due to the interface that basically that's presented to users. I think all the tools and the mechanics are there already. So I think it's just a question of presenting it to the users in a better way.
Couldn't agree more. Well, thank you, everyone. Again, have a happy 4th. Let's get out there, make some hot dogs, jump in a pool. Do not hold firecrackers in your hand. All right, just don't do it. It's a really bad idea. It's gonna end badly. So we all need our fingers. Just saying. Because July 5th, you're gonna watch all those YouTube videos, and you're like, these people didn't learn. All right, everyone. Happy 4th.
Happy 4th, everyone.
Happy
See you
4th.
next week, guys.
See you next week, guys.
Have a great
Bye.
weekend.
See you next week. Bye.